I would love it if you could tell us just a little bit about yourself, your role at Seed King, and how you got involved with Monarchs in the Rough.
Jim Culley, I formed Seed King Enterprises back in July of 2019, right before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for two other seed companies here in California for 26 years. Prior to that, one for 23 years, the other one for 3, doing kind of what I'm doing now, working with golf courses, sports fields, all that, on turf grasses, native grasses, and wildflowers for projects or enhancements or whatever it happens to be. When I formed Seed King Enterprises, it was for really the specific intent of working with golf courses as it pertains towards naturalized areas, especially turf grasses, native grasses, and wildflowers for whether it be out of play areas, naturalized areas, or all the way through to the turf needs. And that's the way it's been since its inception. I'm based here in Southern California, but I work with golf courses throughout the Western United States, and I consult on a few of them on a national basis also, and supply Texas, Florida, East Coast, and all that.
How'd you get involved with Monarchs in the Rough?
Actually, it goes back quite a ways. When you're working with wildflowers for golf courses, of course, it's for pollinators. It's a pollinator program. So you're supplying the golf course with wildflowers, whether it be like our California poppy, our state flower of California, lupins, and all them. And of course, what do you get with those? You get pollinators, you get bees, you get butterflies, you get hummingbirds. So it's it just became part of it. The whole working with the pollinators themselves, and then it became pollinator promotion of areas. So you're enhancing or working to enhance on the golf courses these areas for them specifically. They're nice to look at by the players, and something for the members to talk about. But they have they serve a purpose. That purpose is to provide habitat, food source, cover, whatever happens to be for the pollinators, butterflies, bees, hummingbirds, all that. So that's what it's for. I got involved with Monarchs in the Rough program with Audubon International since I've been working with golf course. It's a golf course program. It's one that's designed for the golf course industry. Audubon International runs the program. They help provide funding for it and direction on it. And I became involved with that program because of my golf course side. It just linked up with the Audubon International program and their Monarchs in the Rough program that they have. So that's been ongoing now for actually a number of years.
Right.
But just recently, here when I was working with them to actually supply the milkweed in this case. They had to wait for another set of grant monies to come around to continue the program, and they received some grant monies from the Fairways Foundation. It's a foundation founded by the Aquatrolls Company.
Okay.
To help promote the use of the milkweed plants on golf courses throughout actually the Northern Hemisphere. It's not just California. It's just not the United States. The program also encompasses Mexico and Canada.
So that kind of goes into my next question, is what inspired you to help golf courses create pollinator habitats? And it sounds kind of like you almost just fell into it. It was something you were doing, and then it just kind of happened and continued to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with golf courses for, like I said, for almost over 30 years now.
Right.
And it's a niche that, I'm a botany major.
Okay.
I graduated a degree in botany. I'm an ornamental horticulture major in high school and junior high school. I worked as a nurseryman for a lot of years. So the ornamental horticulture part has always been inside of me since well before I got into the seed business.
Okay.
So I've just brought that component, that history, now and into what I do now. And so by encompassing that and by using that, it gives me a little more insight, a little more information, a lot of knowledge and expertise for the golf courses, and I use that to their benefit. Now, the pollinators, it just come about because, like I said, I'm trying to get them to beautify the golf course, the naturalized areas. The pollinators come right along with it.
Right. So it's just a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, they came right along with it. Now, of course, it's different. It become more specialized, more specific.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending upon what the golf course is trying to attract, will determine what the mix is and what is being used. There is from AVSeeds. I mean, I'll use the honeybee mix if we have golf courses that have apiaries, some honeybee apiaries, hives on property. If it's a golf course, like I've got a couple down in the Palm Springs area that are really big on their hummingbirds.
Yep.
One of them is the symbol of the property is the costless hummingbird. So of course we'll create habitat for the hummingbird. Monarchs is another part of it. Of course, it's another insect in this case that is found on a number of golf courses here in California during its overwintering periods. So by providing nectary plants or in a lot of cases the milkweed for the larvae to develop and everything else, it's just part of it. I'm working with so much on the milkweed, on the monarch, and when you delve into it, you begin to realize how much we, people-wise, have really kind of screwed things up for them. I mean, they're just looking to migrate from the Great Basin, the Idaho, Colorado, Utah, the Dakotas and all that, and come here to California in the winter months to get away from the cold.
Right.
Well, they need food along the way. Like when we travel, we need McDonald's to stop at or something like that. They need it too. They need to stop somewhere along the way and have a bite to eat. Get some water, go to the restroom, whatever happens to be. Just like we do.
Yep.
So, but by the same token, we are basically removing those areas, those way stations, development, fires. We have wildfires. Whether they blame it on climate change or whatever. Those destroy the way stations that the monarchs would take to come here to the coast of California for the wintering months. So if we can, and that's why I try to get the golf courses involved, and that is we can do that. We can provide those corridors, those way stations, those areas to stop and to lay egg. They can lay eggs, they can pupate, they can create more monarchs and continue the migration. That's the work. I mean, California, drive quite a bit in California. I mean, I've lived here all my life. So there was times when I used to, I could drive the hills, drive the coastline, drive the 101 freeway up from Santa Barbara, clip to Paso Robles and into Monterey and all that, and see nothing but grassland hillsides.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's vineyards, or it's development, or it's something else. Hoop houses for raspberries or blueberry fields or whatever it happens to be. I mean, it's agriculture. It's still green, but there's a lot of development, a lot of housing development, all that too. But when you got to think, when they've taken basically what was, native grasslands, or where you would have, native grasses, milkweeds, and some other things, so wildflowers, and now have turned them into row crops of grapes or berries, or whatever. That means that whole ecosystem is gone that we used to be there. So, these little guys and gals have to find a different direction to go to get where they just want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, somewhere along the coast of California.
Right.
So, that's the part. That's the part we have to somewhat drive home. It's fine. It's we need it's business. We become a very populous state here in California. We need to provide housing for the people who are here and for those who are moving here. But by the same token, when we do that, we are removing we're removing habitat. If it doesn't matter if it's the monarch butterfly or the bumblebees or whatever it happens to be, when you rip up the ground, you remove the ground and make housing. You got to remember that you basically just removed habitat. So.
Do you have any success stories that stand out to you about what kind of impact the program has had so far? Have you heard any great feedback from anybody?
Like here in California, we have 75 golf courses that are part of the program. And you look at them, you look where they're geographically located at. For the most part, those 75 golf courses are located within the Monarchs overwintering grounds,
right.
The coastal part of California, from the Bay Area down to San Diego. Okay, that's where predominantly those golf courses are. Now we've got some that are signed up in the Central Valley. We have some that are signed up in very northern California. Even though it's not part of the migration component of the monarch butterfly, there's still other properties that want to do it, and maybe they get monarchs, maybe they don't.
Right.
Maybe they might have other butterflies, swallowtails or painted ladies or whatever. But they still want to be part of the program. But if you look at the mapping of California, where these golf courses are located that are members of the program, for the most part, like I said, they are within the coastal critical zones that are considered for the monarch overwintering habitats. So if you go on the Monarchs in the Rough program setup or on the website, and you can see the plotting of the golf courses where they're located. For the most part, they are on the migratory pathway of the monarch from Mexico up to Canada.
Right.
So that's because that's where you see them at. You see the greatest concentration of them located at. So of course, those are the guys that really want to get behind it. But we still have people outside of that still want to help out and still want to be part of the program.
Yeah.
Maybe they might see a monarch, maybe they might not. But if they're part of the program, they get that. They could be benefiting some other butterfly species or some other pollinator, or whatever it happens to be. We put it out there for the golf course superintendents to become involved with it, to sign up, to put areas on their golf course, to put signage up for players or guests or whatever it happens to be, to see hey, I'm doing these areas and this is what it's for and all that. But have never really put it out there social media wise, put it out there in the forefront. But now we have to.
Right.
Now that the monarch is under comments right now for a threatened designation for the environmental species list, we need to put that out there and say, hey, we are helping them. We've been doing this for years, not really looking to get a pat on the shoulder or anything else. We're just doing it because we want to do it.
Right.
Well, now we want to say, like, hey, we've been doing this on our own. And here's why we're doing it, and here's how we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that hopefully will become the successes down the road when that actually comes public.
Do you have any goals for Seed King Enterprises and Monarchs in the Rough coming up? Do you guys have any big projects, any goals, anything you want to talk about?
The current grant will cover the establishment of about, let's see, because you figure the grant monies cover not only just seed, but also the signage and all the other parts and components for it. So it'll cover the establishment of about another 125 or so courses to sign up in the program, which should be good. If Audubon International is able to come up with another grant from some other grouping, foundation or whatever, to put more monies to the program, of course that's what it takes, because it's not underwritten. I don't underwrite it. I give them some money based upon other things for the program, but it's not underwritten by Audubon International. It's handled. It does it by receiving charitable funds.
Right.
So as long as the funding is there, you can create more. You can, it's available to, bring more courses into the program. It's been, it was held up for the last about 2.5 years because there was the funding that they had from the other program had ran out, and there was nothing, in between. So basically, the program was suspended for a couple of years while they until they were able to get another grant. So yeah, as long as that grant holds out and we try to keep the monies, there, I can create an establishment for, like I said, another 125 or so across the country. Get some more grant monies, and we can keep the program going. As far as my concern, I mean, I'm the one, working with Park Valley Seed to, provide the milkweed seed for the program. I also work with the golf courses, whether they be established already or, in this case, there are like 8 new ones that came across, providing them the information, and also to let them know, like, hey, you need to do more than just milkweed, but also to provide other, provide more wildflowers or some other nectar bearing plants to go along with the milkweeds, rather than just the milkweeds by themselves. Because you got to feed the butterflies too. You just can't give them milkweed for the larvae.
Right.
You need to provide other things and cover, and it's a habitat you're trying to create. It's not a it's just not a it's not just a feeding station. You might say it's a whole habitat that you're trying to create for a period of time to help them in their migration, or maybe they want to be permanent residents, whatever it happens to be. So,
right.
And that's what I'm doing.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're doing education, you're doing outreach, you're doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get more outreach in it. Outreach for us in the golf industry is political. It's we're viewed as in a lot of negative ways sometimes. We want to promote the positives, and so this is one of those positive ones that we need to show. Hey, we use water, we use fertilizer, we use pesticides. Okay, it's part of the game. It's part of providing a golf course for players to play on. But by the same token, we have areas where we don't want the players to be at, and they're they're naturalized, their native areas, or out of play areas, or what happen to be, and we can make those or create those to become, something different.
Yeah.
I.e., habitat.
Right. You're sharing the space.
We're sharing. Yeah, it's because it's a big, it's a big space, and we're not using the whole thing.
Right.
It doesn't take much. It doesn't take acres upon acres of ground to do this. An acre or a couple of acres is on a golf course is more than sufficient.
Absolutely.
To provide area for habitat for, in this case here, for the monarchs.
Yeah.